Yesterday, the Prime Minister released yet another video that repeated the same speech that he's been giving for the last year about the U.S. He recycled the same promises and reused the same old lines, this time with a little more dramatic flair. There was even a nude figurine on display. But it was all strangely timed for the day before Statistics Canada inflation data would show that in March, we again had the worst food price inflation in the G7. Now, other G7 countries face the same global problems of tariffs and wars, but none are seeing the rise at the grocery stores Liberals have imposed here at home. Now, it's not surprising that the Prime Minister wants to distract from his costly failures by pushing fear and re-upping his rhetoric yesterday. But let's compare that rhetoric to the reality. He promised to double home building, but his own housing agency now expects home building to fall 18%. He promised to build big projects, but what's really getting built? His new major projects office has approved not one single new major project, not one major pipeline, not one major development, nothing. He has not removed a single Trudeau-era anti-development law, but he has stacked new laws on top of old ones. He's not removed a single government agency or bureaucracy, but he instead has created 12 new ones. And speaking of the pipeline to the Pacific, that great symbol of our national energy sovereignty, after a year of Mark Carney's promise to do unprecedented speeds, the project has no route, no permit, no builder, no timeline to start building, and no end date to complete it. Enbridge, the only company capable of building it, says plainly that the Liberal laws and taxes that Mr. Carney has kept in place make it impossible to produce enough oil to fill a new pipeline. It's all an illusion. He also promised to negotiate a win with the U.S. by July 2025. Almost a year later, he has squandered Canada's leverage, and we now pay twice the tariffs on far more goods than when Mr. Carney became Prime Minister. Well, I have announced a detailed plan to build our leverage to fight for tariff-free trade. A year after he became Prime Minister, no one has any idea of Mr. Carney's plan to save the over 2 million Canadian jobs that rely on trade with the U.S. These workers cannot eat speeches or videos or announcements. Now, he claims he'll replace the U.S. with other countries, so let me ask you this. How many new trade deals with other countries do you think he has negotiated in his year in office? Zero. The last trade deal from this Liberal government was with Indonesia, negotiated by Justin Trudeau. It will boost annual exports with that country by only enough to replace just 5 hours of exports to the U.S. Other than that, there have been a dozen non-binding, unenforceable memorandums that amount to little more than press releases. He repeated promises in his video for more investment. But since he took office, investment in industrial equipment and machinery has fallen nearly 15%. And that is after the Liberal decade saw the net exit of $1 trillion of investment. Twice as much investment has left Canada than returned in the last decade, according to an RBC report released last week. And twice as many Canadians are opening businesses outside of Canada as they are here at home. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business says we are in an entrepreneurial drought and that economic foundations are crumbling. Meanwhile, Mr. Carney has doubled the deficit, increased federal spending 7% above what Justin Trudeau spent in his final year, and stacked $90 billion of net new spending on top of what his predecessor had budgeted for the next 5 years. Outside of COVID, the Carney Liberals are now running the largest deficit in Canada's history and the highest level of spending as a share of our national income since 1996. There has been no tax reform in the last year, unless you count the renaming of the carbon tax as the clean fuel standard. The rhetoric simply does not match the results. Illusions are not reality. Lofty summit speeches, meaningless MOUs, and symbolic signing ceremonies do not pay your mortgage, gas your tank, or fill your grocery cart here at home. We cannot control what the U.S. does, to be fair, but we can control what we do to make Canada affordable and autonomous here at home. Our Conservative plan for affordable energy will unlock our potential. We will eliminate all carbon taxes, hidden and visible. We would end all gas and diesel taxes for the rest of the year. We would permit rapid oil and gas and electricity projects to boost our dollar and its purchasing power. We would cancel EV rebates and mandates that largely subsidize foreign automobiles, and instead, let's take the sales tax off vehicles made here in Canada. We must unblock the most tariff-proof industry of all, home building, by cutting red tape and taxes on construction. That will create tariff-proof jobs and restore home ownership to our youth. The federal government should also grant 6-month approval times, repeal anti-development laws like C-69 and 48, and adopt a one project, one approval rule. As did Prime Minister Harper during the global financial crisis, 23,500 projects went from concept to completion in just over 2 years with no environmental or public safety problems. We can do that again. We should use the special powers under Bill C-5 to rapidly permit new pipelines, including a pipeline to the Pacific carrying over $30 billion of oil overseas. $30 billion is more than the total exports to China, for context. These measures will be bundled together as part of what we call the Canadian Sovereignty Act. When we unlock our resources, we must maximize their negotiating leverage. Guaranteed access to critical minerals is about more than economics. It's about power and security. Canada produces 10 of 12 NATO defense critical minerals. We also have one of the largest supplies of energy beneath our feet. No modern economy or military functions without secure energy. And that's why I believe, and I have proposed, that Canada should establish a strategic energy and mineral reserve, stored domestically, under Canadian control, and available to secure the country and our allies during war, crisis, or supply disruption. The United States wants access to all these minerals and energy. Well, we should use those resources as leverage to get what we want: tariff-free trade, including for our aluminum, steel, lumber, and autos. We do not need more costly illusions for Mr. Carney. We need real-world results at your grocery store, your gas pump, and in your bank account. We must be affordable at home, safe at home, and strong at home so that we can have unbreakable leverage abroad.